Hello, everyone. This is Marita, one who catches lightning, with the Path of Ish podcast, Walking with Our Shadow, where we share ancient indigenous teachings of remembrance, all so we can walk and learn how to walk a path of radical self-love. Hello, everyone. It's Marita, one who catches lightning with the Path of Ish, here welcoming you back to take a moment to sit together today as we come from all different backgrounds, all different ways of being. And it's important to realize this. This circle is not to erase who you are, but to acknowledge and take responsibility for the stories that have created you, those that you cling to, and those that you are wanting to write. So just take a moment to welcome all parts of your story to your inner circle first. So let us take our 3 breaths as we welcome our parts to ourselves first. And then we will welcome a larger circle. So wherever you are, wherever you're landing in your day, in your week, in this life that is full of roses and thorns, of comfort and discomfort, not because you did something bad, but it just is what it is. Let us welcome our parts that have been wandering, sometimes separate from themselves, experiencing, sometimes separate from themselves. And let's bring the team back home. The team we're speaking to are just 3 of your many parts that at one point in our journey were whole as a collective and then became separated, and our journey now is to welcome them back home. These parts, as you know, if you've been listening, are the mind, the body, and the essence. So let us welcome just individually by our 3 breaths. Ik. Welcoming that wind in. And so let us begin in and out through the nose, that first breath. Bring your mind into this time, this place, your inner circle. In and out through the nose. Bring the body, your human body, into this time, this place, your inner circle. In and out through the nose. We bring in by welcoming, not shoving, not doing anything. So sometimes it takes time. Welcome them in. If you have to redo this and say welcome, play with the words. We all grasp sometimes at things, and words can trigger us. So while we might use certain words here, remember that you can adapt them, but you adapt them with knowledge. And that knowledge is responsibility of self. So in and out through the nose, let us welcome, bring in, invite our essence into this time, into this space, into this place, into you, your inner circle. And as you allow yourself, and if you need to do this again, please do so again until you land here, now, present. And throughout our conversations, remember that this breath, this practice is available to you. I have been sharing it with you for you to find a way back home. Now, As we start opening this larger circle, inviting the directions, the elements, the ancestors, all the external parts of ourselves that influence our environments and our relationships to our environments, all those things that are part of the larger circle, the kingdoms, right? The bird kingdom, the insect kingdom, the tree kingdom, the fish kingdom, all of them. Animals, plants, insects, shapes, colors, and sounds that are part of our environment are part of this larger circle as well as others. Remember, we are not islands. One of the things that we're welcoming into this larger circle, which is where we welcome topics and discussions and curiosity and courage and play, is this topic of checking the boxes. I just want you, right, to check in with yourself, as I say, checking the boxes. If you listen to this and journal, this is a great time to just journal on this topic. What does it mean to you? And I highly recommend, and this is what I teach my students, is to ask several parts of yourself. You can ask your 3 parts. What does this make you feel? How does this make you? What does this mean to you? So you can start getting to know them. What does checking the boxes mean to the mind? And then you journal about that. What does checking the boxes mean to the body? And journal about that. What does checking boxes mean to the essence? Whether you draw, doodle, sing, dance, however you want to acknowledge or have a place to land these messages as they flow for you, from you, as you're listening, please find a way that best suits you. And so if you need that moment to grab your journal or do whatever you need to do, please take so now, or just pause and come back. But by journaling, especially about how you're feeling and interacting with whatever's being spoken to, it allows you your voice. This is a podcast, so there's just one way right now. It's me speaking to you, or when I interview other people, it's 2. You as a listener, your voice is not being heard here. And that's why I would love to welcome you into one of our circles where we allow that space. So check out the Thinkific. There's moon circles there. We're going to be opening up new spaces there, community spaces, where you are always given the space to be witnessed. Let us go back to this topic of checking the boxes. And why is it coming up now? Well, we are in a powerful time, and I feel that's starting to get redundant, but it isn't. We are in a time of transformation. Change and taxes these days are inevitable, right? Death and taxes and change. Change is a constant, yet it still surprises us. And sometimes when we don't want to be surprised, we depend on people and algorithms to create lifestyle experiences that are catered to us so that we don't have to experience change. Or we can choose how to participate. And usually it's that of an observer. Now, it seems like a very, very blah out there, right? Spacey conversation we're having. So let's try to land this a little bit. one of the reasons this conversation is taking place now, as we are and have been experiencing in our travels recently, the conversation of and the observation of how we live, how we interact, and how we choose. I was speaking with my wife, and we were reminiscing about how we met online. And I said I'd never do it, but that's another story, and we'll save that for another time. But again, we met online. There is an algorithm. Now, their observation was really interesting and said, they went on dates with people who were, or knew of people who were very early adapters to these algorithms. And there was all these stories of successes. And I asked them, were these people binary? Were they straight? And she said, yes. And I said, well, okay, so the algorithm's working for them. And again, this is not a conversation of straightness and queerness. What I'm saying is we're having a conversation about how algorithms, or we can say stories, or ideas of predictability are just that, predictable. And sometimes they're not, because maybe the algorithm doesn't fit you. Maybe the programming doesn't fit you. We later went on to discuss how her and I were not a high match. I thought it was higher than it was, and Rose has a better memory. And I think we were only like in the beginning 60% matched, but we went on the date anyway. And we realized that even though we were in a space that was online, very queer welcoming, that the algorithm was still creating in its own intelligence, and its intelligence is based on rules of mathematics, right? Which are based on, what is that? What we program things in, what we observe things in. There are certain rules. And if someone is listening and they're to really high math, I hope I'm not insulting you. I'm just trying to make this as easy or as universal right now. Maybe not easy. Thank you for that check to have this discussion. Again, this circle is limited in its time and in its place, and there's always opportunity for more and to grow. If we had gone by the quote unquote opportunity of success that was based on this algorithm, we would have and actually been like, no, I'm not going to check someone out who's only 60% matched. I'm looking for 90. Even there, what are your rules, right? How matched to your experience do you want to have to be? How adventurous are you, right? And the reason I say that, I met someone else, and not like dated, but had a conversation once with someone who was quite younger than myself and much more into online dating at that time. And this was a long time ago. And they said that they didn't have time, right? They were in grad school, they were in college, they were, very, very busy. And so this was a different generation than myself who didn't have time or know how to create relationships outside of very small boxes where they wanted to put people in because they didn't have time. We ended up going to dinner and having, 2-3 hour dinner and great conversation. And I said, you see, there's another way of doing this. And they're like, wow, I've never experienced this. And that was a cultural exchange. So again, if we had tried to just check each other's boxes, even in a friendship conversation, it wouldn't have worked. But we were able to extend bridges to each other, to learn from each other. And so I think one could say that this conversation now is one that started there with that person out in Boston. That conversation that probably happened 10 years ago. and is still with me, and I'm still learning from it today. So that conversation that we took time for is still with me because we shared that time. It's not just stuck in a moment in a box. It's not limited because we didn't limit ourselves. The same thing with my wife and myself. We did not limit ourselves to an expected lifestyle experience. We're both adventurers and risk takers, so that makes sense. But many times, even when we are wanting to change or wanting to explore, we do not recognize the limitations of the stories and the societies that give us rules that inform our everyday. Some people just say, oh, it's character. You're an adventurer. You're a risk taker. The truth is, that's not always true. And one could say character is built by, and there's a lot of things. But I'm saying, for the purposes of just now, it's not just about the individual experience. We must also understand that we are creating out of our individual experiences based on the larger circle that informs our way of living or gives us access to other ways of limiting, of experiencing. And now, as we speed up, we want things to be more predictable. I have this conversation a lot. There is this comfort and predictability that we crave. So I want you to check in with comfort and predictability. For some of you, it might feel uncomfortable, but then also look at your routines. If your routine is to be unpredictable, that is your predictability. Again, there's nothing wrong or right here. We're not proving anyone wrong or right. I'm just saying, can you take time to observe this story that you're creating? Can you take time to observe how it has been woven through time and space, society, and ideas? What is the matrix you're living in? And remember that if you are trying to create a new one, you might not know how to do that. Or you might try to create it again out of the experiences and the habits and the predictability of what has been shown or taught to you how to build and create. So just acknowledge that. And that's all. And then you get to reach out to listen and for help from other people who are another part of that bridge, of that learned experience that we call life. They might be younger than you. They might be older than you. They might not look like you. They might not speak the same language, literally and figuratively. But if you are looking to expand beyond the boundaries and the limits of what you know, you cannot continue to check the same boxes. And even if you check other boxes, be aware of how you are still trying to have a curated lifestyle experience. And just know where you are on the path. Again, nothing's wrong, nothing's right, but know your limitations. Take responsibility for that. Be humble in that way. Humility allows us that no being is greater than us or lesser. We don't have to have that conversation of where do I fit in? But our quote unquote respect is not sameness that erases you. It's just breaking that algorithm to create matches that are limited by constructs of society that are trying to curate a seamless experience of life. As we settle in and let all of this digest, this web and spiral of conversation, make sure you just take the moment to check in, to listen to this again. And just check in with your mind, your body, and your essence as you breathe in and out and re-present them to their experience of this conversation now. Because the experience might be different later. And remember, all of these conversations are seeds. Take what you want, plant what you want. And remember, seeds take time to grow and take exchange. And if this does not serve you now, maybe it's for another time. But be aware if you're just checking a box for your curated experience and says, oh, this does not apply to me. However you act or interact, thank you for being present with us now. So let us do a small meditation. As we bring in all of this, bring in our 3 breaths, in and out through the nose, representing our mind into this time and place. In and out through the nose, representing our body into this time and place. In and out through the nose. Can we just sink in? If your mind is spinning with what is Marita trying to say to me right now, I need to grasp it. Can you let that go? Thank you, mind. Thank you for sharing your experience with me. Thank you for letting me know how you're thinking and feeling right now. Thank you for being here. And your body and your essence the same way. Body, thank you for being able to be the vessel that I get to inhabit in this lifetime, where my mind and my spirit can reside together. This is our meeting place, where we can be together, where we can discover together, where we can have these experiences. Thank you, Essence, for coming here, for taking the time to be present. And thank you, all 3 parts of myself and myself, for not checking the boxes, for taking a chance. Maybe you don't think your mind is compatible with your body or your body compatible with your essence. And are you living a life where you are not allowing yourself an experience or expression between the 3 of your parts, of many, because you're not taking the chance to get to know yourself because the numbers don't add up? Or are you just wanting a curated experience between them? This should be this way or feel this way. This shouldn't be hard. And what are the stories that come up? And as they settle, ask each one of them to tell you a story of when they checked the boxes. Ask your mind, when did I check the boxes in a situation? And then maybe I didn't experience something beyond. And why do I do that? Ask your body. Are you just trying to check the boxes, body? Maybe it's just functionality that you want. And that's the most important thing. And there's still no love and respect for the human vessel and its expression and experience, whether you agree with it, whether it is hard or easy or not. And the same with the essence. Is the essence checking boxes with your experience, with its experience of itself in this body, with this mind, of other bodies and minds, of this planet, of this earth? Or are you checking out? I don't fit in, so I'm not going to fit in, so I'm going to check out. And I'm not going to be present to the possibility that something different might be much closer than I think. As you allow this into your mind, your body, your heart, your essence, your soul, your marrow, your tissue, your bones, your breath. Keep breathing. Keep believing. Keep breathing. Keep believing. And can you start unchecking those boxes? And with great gratitude to yourself for taking this time to yourself, start coming back slowly by taking your 3 breaths in and out through the nose as you thank your essence for being here. In and out through the nose as you thank your body for being here. In and out through the nose as you thank your mind for being here. Final breath for yourself. Another breath. There's going to be a few final breaths. Thank you to this outer circle, to all who have supported. Another breath for your inner circle. Just to seal in this time and this practice, as we step outside of the algorithm, aware of how many times we've stepped back into it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just be aware. And with courage, curiosity, play, and radical self-acceptance and love, we close this circle at this time and at this place, Shade. Once again, it is with deepest gratitude that I bow to you for joining me on this podcast, this episode, this circle, this plática, this meditation, this remembering. I hope that you have stayed curious. I hope to see you in the circle again next week. So make sure that you like or follow. Until then, may you be blessed with abundance of peace and radical self-love.